Let's burn the tires down. Let's light them up. Let's stage it up and send it between the slicks live with yours truly, the Monday Morning Racer, Lee Craft. As you roll in, would you hit the like button, also the share button? Tell your drag racing buddies that we're going to be talking drag racing right here on the Monday Morning Racer platforms, YouTube, Twitter, and the Facebook page, but you can also follow along on Instagram. And also welcome to the Competition Plus audience as well. Between the Slicks live, what do we have in store for you tonight? We're going to go over some drag racing news for sure in drag racing news, but our guest tonight will be the last Southeast Gassers Association champion that we have intended to talk to. We've talked to A-Gas, B-Gas, C-Gas, and now Rick Varner, a.k.a. The Dirt Man. We're going to be chatting with him later tonight around 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. He picked up the win in Superstock in that beautiful Camaro of his, and he also competes in A-Gas. Has another vehicle as well that he himself does not drive but is in competition. So Rick Varner, heavily invested in the Southeast Gassers Association, takes home the big hardware in the championship and several wins this year as well. We're going to talk to him concerning the year that he had in the Southeast Gassers Association and what he thinks he can do in 2023 to be the first back-to-back champion. Southeast Gassers Association has not had that, no matter the category of A, B, C, Superstock, or any other class within the Southeast Gassers Association. So all of those that have won are definitely going to be attempting to make some history within that organization. But we're going to be talking with Mr. Varner later on. Let me go to the comments really quick. Sam says, good evening. Good evening, Sam, and good evening, Pat. Good to have you watching along, and everyone else. Hit that like button, hit the share button, and look, get in that comment section. I want to chat with you. I want you to chat later on with Rick. I want to hear about what news you're hearing from your area of drag racing. Maybe you're watching across the pond. We have people who watch from down under and over in Europe. What's happening over there? Maybe you are watching in my neck of the woods of upstate of South Carolina. Let me know what is going on. Some big news has been going on in the area of South Carolina, North Carolina for drag racing and sanctioning bodies. We'll cover that in just a few moments. So Drag Racing Central, good to have you as always here and watching and commenting. Thank you for that. We also have David Hill chiming in from Colorado, a Funny Car Chaos winner, mind you. I believe that was Odessa of last year, campaigns his Funny Car. Looking forward to see him back out there in Funny Car Chaos and beyond, Mr. David Hill. So, folks, thank you for tuning in. We're going to take a quick break, and right after that break, we'll dive into drag racing news. And Sam has already mentioned one of the news points we are going to talk about.
The drag racing life and the RV life seem to go hand in hand like nitromethane and superchargers. And when you are traveling through the Lone Star State and you're needing work done on your RV, well, DFW RV Center is your star to contact.
And in drag news, we'll start with what Sam has already commented on. Alex finished his licensing today. Yes, he did. He earned, Alex Laughlin did, his Funny Car license. They were out there at Famosa Dragway, Bakersfield, California, and they were sending it, and he sent it enough times in the right way to get his Funny Car license. So he is going to be good to go in competition in 2023 for Jim Dunn Racing, doing a full season in that historic ride in the class of Nitro Funny Car in the NHRA Camping World Series. There is video He has been documenting it along the way. I'm sure we're going to see in the future a longer format video. And, we have a thing here between the slicks of getting people on when they license. Very well might have to reach out to Alex and talk to him about the particulars of attempting to drive a Nitro funny car compared to anything else that he has driven. It's a different world when that body comes down. Never know. Maybe we should also see him at a Funny Car Chaos event. That would be pretty cool. Jim Dunn Racing at Funny Car Chaos with Alex Laughlin. That'd be pretty cool. I'd like to see that. But on his social media, you can see those videos. He's got one from in the cockpit when he wrapped it up. Already seen that. Be sharing it later on the Monday Morning Racer platform. But yes, Alex Laughlin did earn his funny car license. He will be good to go. Johnny, good to have you watching from Griffin, Georgia. Going Bracket Racing, guys. If you're not following Going Bracket Racing, you need to follow them on Facebook. You also need to subscribe to their YouTube channel. They are doing a great job for the world of, yes, drag racing, and in particular, Going Bracket Racing, doing a great job for bracket racing. They got some high praise from Drag Champ, which is a leader in bracket racing coverage on what they are doing. They are doing a fine job, and we even have them airing right here on the Monday Morning Racer platform. Fred Spell Jr., hey guys, Spell Paving Services, what is it, Fred? 500-mile radius or 50-mile radius? 500-mile radius. Yeah, because 50 don't make sense. 500-mile radius, the Dallas-Fort Worth area. If you need something paved, it is Spell Paving Services. He says, you're the best. I'm happy I got to know you. Well, Fred, I appreciate that. Thank you. Look forward to seeing you at Chaos. Drag Racing Central has mentioned Factory X, and we're going to talk about that because, yes, that was announced. We have a schedule for the Factory X class that is going to be new and fresh this very year in 2023 in the NHRA. Now, this class, it is gaining momentum more and more and more of what it is going to be. And I have this photo from PRI. It's, top down. But as you can see, this hot rod, this car, it looks, like it's supposed to look. It is a Dodge Challenger. Maybe one with like a sports package, and it's souped up looking and ground effects and things of that nature, but it looks the way it ought to look, as if it was sitting on a showroom floor. And this class is growing in popularity, growing in momentum, and growing in people talking about it, like myself and Slam and Sam and others, Lonnie Grimm touting it. It is going to be popular. It is a class where people are going to have to manually shift. The cars look like the cars, and they're going to be a lot of power because they are the supercharged varieties from the particular camps: Ford, Chevy, Dodge, and rumor that Toyota is very interested in this particular class as well. So we might have Toyota in the future in Factory X. That could be coming. But what can we look forward to as a schedule? Factory X is scheduled to have 2 exhibitions to start out the season. We can first see them at the 4-wide rendition of ZMAX. So the spring Charlotte race, you could say, at ZMAX Dragway, we can expect to see Factory X in exhibition. So I'm expecting at least 2 cars. There very well may be more than that, but at least 2 cars that you are going to be able to get up close to. If you have folks looking away, even touch and see them go down the drag strip and get an idea of what this class is going to become. Then the next one is Bristol, Tennessee. That will be the next exhibition. Great place to have a door car show up for a new door car class within the NHRA. Charlotte, North Carolina, Bristol, Tennessee. You are talking about steeped in door carism, if you will. It is door car country in those places. But there is going to be a 6-race points season. So after the exhibition races of ZMAX in the spring and Bristol, we're looking at their first official points earning event will be at Norwalk. Then they will compete in Topeka, Brainerd. They go back to ZMAX for the Carolina Nationals, the 2-wide rendition, St. Louis, and their last race will be at Las Vegas. I think that this is a well-rounded schedule, even if you don't have Indy. I do think it's a bit strange not to have Indy, and yes, I understand that Indy is slammed. You have everything from mountain motor, top dragster, top sportsman, every alcohol, all of it there, including Nitro Harley competing on the grandest and biggest stage that drag racing has to offer. With all that said, though, again, the grandest and biggest stage that drag racing has to offer, it is interesting that they're not going to be there. Nonetheless, the NHRA, I think, is doing a good job of rolling these cars out in 2 places that is door car country, Bristol, Charlotte, North Carolina, Bristol, Tennessee, Charlotte, North Carolina. And then when you look at the schedule, they hit the Midwest. They hit East Coast. They hit West Coast. They hit the North and the South. So they get a little bit of everywhere in the country on the NHRA schedule. So I think it's a well-balanced, thought-out schedule to expose Factory X and what it will be and can be to the NHRA fan base. And I think this is a class that has the potential to, in time, yes, take over what we understand as pro stock. Very possibly might subvert what we understand as FlexJet factory stock. But it may very well be, we may very well be seeing the future of door car racing in the NHRA with Factory X. May very well be seeing that. Let me go back to the comment section. Dennis says hello from Long Island. Hello, Dennis from South Carolina. I hope you're doing well on Long Island. Mikey mentions the power hour the other night was great. I'm excited about Scotty coming back to drive. Yes, we had Stevie Fast Jackson on and Scotty Cannon on the power hour, and the show did not explode. It was a good audience, good to have them on. And wow, Scotty, one of the biggest things I take from Scotty and what he said, it is great to hear that he is going to come back to racing. You get back involved. He is first helping his brother with the pro mod that was behind him. That's his brother's. His brother's going to be driving. He's helping him with it. But eventually, some way, somehow, whether it's a pro mod, funny car, whatever it might be, heck, maybe even a Southeast Gassers car, get him in a gasser. Scotty Cannon is going to be back behind the wheel of something. But the biggest takeaway that I gather from Scotty is honestly a life issue for all of us, and that's health. He just didn't feel right. And it took several doctors to go through and him find, this is what's wrong, and it's an imbalance basically in medication, and get it worked out, and now he feels better. So, take care of yourselves. If you don't feel right, keep getting it worked out and work on it. Man, we could have had Scotty Cannon even sooner than what we are going to have him. But yes, it's good. It's good. Dar Hawthorne, lots of talk. How many are being built? Well over a full field from major chassis builders and then chassis builders that you and I don't even know of. So lots of talk is behind the scenes. It's lots of work that you're going to see lots of cars on track, at least a full field. Now, do I expect a full field in the exhibition races? Well, no, I don't. But I do expect by the time the season comes along, you could see 12, 16 cars competing for a championship. And by the way, let's say if it's just 8-car fields, for this class beginning in its first year. There's nothing wrong with that. Hasn't been that many years ago, or maybe it has been that many years ago, but let it not be lost that in NHRA Championship drag racing, there were plenty of national events that had just 8-car fields. Yes, even for Top Fuel, Funny Car, and Pro Stock. So it is not uncommon. A full field is whatever field you make it to be. Drag Racing Central. Can we appreciate how NHRA come up with their own door slammer class instead of just copying another one of the million heads-up door slammer classes? I think this is a good point. This class is going to be different. It is not factory stock. It is not pro stock. It is something different. I almost look at what they're doing as modern gassers to some extent. Now, yes, they're supercharged and they definitely don't have the stance, but these are going to be clutch cars. They're going to be manually shifted. That is exciting, that they're going to look like the cars are supposed to look like, and they're going to have to be driven for sure. Alan Boykin, yes, NHRA will have Pro Mod. That has been announced. I imagine the full schedule is out there even for those guys. But yes, NHRA will have Pro Mod. And from what Stevie Fast Jackson said on Tuesday night, he expects 2023 to be a great year for NHRA Pro Mod in particular, that a lot of people are saying they are going to come and compete, and people that we haven't seen in a while and new faces are going to come to compete. So he's expecting that 2023 for NHRA Pro Mod will be a good season. And that's coming from Stevie Fast Jackson, an individual who definitely knows more about Pro Mod than any of us commenting and talking right now. He is got his thumb on it, and he's looking forward to having a good year in NHRA. Destroyer 1320. Yes, hit that like button, folks. We're not far from having Mr. Rick Varner on. We'll be chatting with him, the 2022 Southeast Gassers Association Super Stock Champion. And check out Destroyer 1320 as well. I play his commercial. We will be playing it later. That product that he has created, the theft deterrent system, it works. It might look simple, but sometimes simple just gets the job done. A couple of weeks ago, we showcased his product saving a car from a thief. And yeah, it had needed repair work in the center console, but that man still had his car because of what Destroyer 1320 has come up. You can check that out at destroyer1320.com and get one of his theft deterrent systems today, especially if you have a modern muscle car. And if you've got something that you want to protect that he doesn't have the product for, reach out to him. He's a car guy, drag racer himself. Maybe you can get it worked out where he can produce what you need to protect your ride. Leslie Horn, 55 Chevrolet Chick Magnet Racing says, what up, Lee? The A-Gas champion for 2022. Alan, yes, the NHRA will be running factory-style car class. I believe you're referring to FlexJet. It's no longer Constant Aviation. It is FlexJet Factory Stock Showdown. They will also have a season this year as well. So in NHRA right now, what we're looking at is we're going to have all the sportsman classes, which a majority of them in many regards are door-centric, except for Super Comp. It's very much dragster-centric. I mean, it was only, 2 years ago, the last Atlanta race, for the first time in 10 years, a door car had actually won in Super Comp. Wow. But Top Sportsman, for example, that door slammer class, and you've got now Factory X is going to be there. You've got Factory Stock, and you've also got Pro Stock. If you're a fan, Pro Mod, so if you're a fan of people sitting in between doors, it is going to be a great season, I think, for NHRA. May very well see a rise of the door car once again, because I really believe at one time in NHRA drag racing, Pro Stock was just as popular, if not more popular, than some of the fuel classes. I really believe that. And I know for me, growing up, I loved Funny Car. I loved Top Fuel, but there was something about Pro Stock that edged out those other classes for me. And I really feel that was the same way for many people in the fan base, especially if you went to a place that was, in essence, door slammer country, like an Atlanta Dragway many, many years ago. I can remember people standing up, not just for fuel, but standing up for pro stock when they would come out and do a burnout and begin laying down qualifying passes. Alan also says Scotty Kamen coming back is good, but he's old. Yeah, he's old. We all get old one way or the other, but he doesn't mean he can't drive, or as long as he is as good as he once was, he can go get it done. But yes, no, it's good to have that character back for sure. And by the way, remember, age, John Force, Chris Karismasinis, plenty of other examples. They can still get it done in drag racing. Mikey, we're going to get to that question. Still got some more news, and we'll throw something out. We'll throw something out for that. I do want to mention in drag racing news tonight that some sad news from a couple of different fronts. So Dan Jessel, you see him here, the innovator for Jessel Valve Train, founded it in 1980. And if you're looking for some of the best valve train parts in the industry, you can certainly look to Jessel. Well, Dan Jessel passed away January the 11th. He passed away yesterday. So condolences to the Jessel family and group. The family has already made statements that they fully intend that they will continue to innovate. They will continue to carry on the legacy that Dan Jessel got the program starting. Okay, so he is good to go. The company's good to go. You're still going to see them out there, Dan Jessel and that group, even though they've lost their patriarch. So moving forward, you're still going to see that brand, that name out there. And that's good to hear. Sad to hear of the passing, though, of Mr. Dan Jessel. And in passing, also, do want to make note and remind you, even though I imagine each and every one of you know the news, Sam Finnick, Australian door slammer driver, top slammer, as they would say down there, pro mod in essence for us. He did lose his life in a drag racing incident at Willowbank Raceway. And Sam Finnick, from what I understand, again, one of the top door slammer competitors. It might be said that this is a situation that you didn't think would happen to a guy like this. But even though it was a brand new race car and they were certainly expectations of a great season, his life came to an end in a serious accident. A TV cameraman operator was also involved in the incident, actually had to hop from the tower. He did sustain injuries, but not life-threatening. He was also hospitalized, and just a bad scene overall. I have seen footage on this wreck, and from several different angles. I am glad to hear that there is already talk of proactive measures after this happening to deal with this situation so it doesn't happen again. I think that's important in racing, that when something happens, we, to the best of our ability, we exert all of our ability to eliminate it from happening again. So it was a nasty incident, and I will say that no matter what the racing facility is, from dirt tracks to drag strips to asphalt tracks, whatever it is, if a vehicle leaves the racing surface, they need to leave in such a way where they are not going to strike something of major size, stature. Don't put the car in the situation where it's going to strike the immovable object. no matter the facility, that has got to be worked on. Continuing in drag racing news, some Nitro Chaos news. Nitro Chaos is just around the corner. That's a spin-off of Funny Car Chaos. That is a series where 80% and plus, 80% plus of nitro must be in the tank. So you can't run 79%. You got to run 80% or all the way up to 100%, and any vehicle is allowed, as long as it's a four-wheel vehicle, from fuel altered, top fuel, A fuel, to a funny car just like this one, and you have coming along Eric Stevens, going to participate in the Edgewater Nitro Chaos event. First time for Chaos ever to go to Edgewater Motorsports Park. That's going to be April 28th and 29th. And I can roll through a few of the individuals that have already pre-entered for the Maryland International Funny Car Chaos race. The first time ever that Funny Car Chaos is going to the East Coast at Maryland International Raceway. Some of these, not just some, all of these have already pre-entered for that event. Some beautiful funny cars are going to be there. The East Coast has some great funny car racers. It is going to be a great time for sure at those events. So if you have not been to a Chaos race, whether Nitro Chaos or Funny Car Chaos, you need to get to one of those events. They are outstanding for sure. Mikey, he wants me to give a bold prediction who wins the World Series of Pro Mod. Wow, you've got so many coming out for that race. You have so many great Pro Mod names invited to it. And I don't think the invitations are done by any means of big names and unexpected names. No telling who might get the invite. Okay? So I was about to say I like that pick. Drag Racing Central chimes in and says Todd Tutterow, King Tut. I think that's a good pick. I think that's a solid pick. I don't want to count out Melanie Salemi. They have a thing for that place. They've got it done at the Snowbird Nationals before. Folks, Jim Halsey, can't count out Jim Halsey. You're going to have NHRA stars competing there. You have individuals like Chip King. So if they were a champion in whatever Pro Mod series they are running in, they are going to, well, be big. They're going to be big, okay? And they are going to be heavy hitters, and you've got all those people. But events like this, I feel like, usually go to the people you don't expect, or the people that have a knack for winning big races. I think someone right now that has the momentum, it is Lyle Barnett. I think Lyle Barnett will win this and continue to grow his fame and popularity in drag racing by being the first winner of the World Series of Pro Mod at Bradenton Motorsports Park there in Florida. Al Voz, why do fuel cars run slower down under? It has to do with attrition. And what I mean by attrition is most of the time, the fuel cars in Europe and in Australia, they are competing with trickled down parts from what has already been ran here in the United States of America. So you are in a situation where to make your parts last longer that have already been used, you're not able to run them as hard. Also, many of the programs in Australia, they don't have quite the funding that you have here in the United States of America. Same way with the situation in Europe. It's a matter of parts, what they can handle, and how many runs are we going to have to cycle them through, and what can we get out of them. That is, I think, from what I understand, the biggest reason that you have that situation. Yeah, John, yes, there's 2 monitors. I have 2 monitors, and I do, editing with 2 monitors and have something else on the other one, and, do photo editing on one. And yes, I'm able to monitor the YouTube chat and then see the Facebook chat here through the StreamYard. But yeah, 2 monitors going on here in the studio for sure. All right. Let's see if we can get Rick Varner on. We're going to have him on in a few moments, chat with him, see if it works out. I do see him in the green room, and we'll chat with him. We might just have him audio only, but that's fine. We're going to chat with Rick Varner in just a few moments here on Between the Slicks, chatting with Rick Varner, the 2022 Southeast Gassers Association Super Stock Champion. And by the way, there's more to talk to him concerning drag racing and Southeast Gassers Association than just Super Stock. He's got a couple of other rides that we can talk with him. So he's in the green room. We're going to take a break. And right after the break, we'll see if we can get Rick here on live.
If you own a beautiful modern muscle car like this 1320 Challenger, I'm sure you don't want it stolen. Because the Challenger and many other modern vehicles have an easily accessible neutral release strap. That was your coin holder in your central console, and beneath that there's this red cord that someone can pop, put it in the neutral, and potentially easily steal your car. But at Destroyer1320.com, they have the TDS, Theft Deterrent System, which is a cover over that strap using factory mounting points so that you don't get popped by a thief. So make sure to go to Destroyer1320.com using promo code MMR for 15% off and get your Theft Deterrent System TDS and steal the thieves' hope.
Rick, are you out there? Can you hear me, man?
I hear you.
All right, good. Good to have you, Rick. Good to have you on the show. And, well, look at that sexy man right there, all live and ready to go for us. So, Rick, how you doing tonight? You haven't been swept away by the rain, have you?
No, man. I already been asleep and got back up to talk to you.
All right, very good, very good. Getting that rest in to be live here on Between the Slicks. Well, let's begin. You are AKA the Dirt Man, and I'm sure that has to do with your vocation. So what is it that you do, and is that where that name came from, or is it from some other dirty connection?
No, it's from, I got a grading company, so I trade dirt for money every day.
Trade dirt for money. Hey, you grew up and got to do kind of what every kid when they're a little boy wants to do, play with dirt. So there you go.
Yeah, but my daddy told me not to grow up and be a ditch digger.
So in your world of moving dirt for money, like what are we talking about? What projects do you find yourself typically working on with your company?
We build housing developments. We grade for big commercial buildings, roads, highways. We dig lakes and ponds, and anything to do with the grading world, that's what we do.
All right. Moving dirt and making money. Sounds good to me. You're in a good spot up there in North Carolina too for all that. It keeps there needs to hurry up and be a sign put up like we're full. Nobody else come.
Yeah, we're lucky. We got drag strips all the way around us. I'm right beside a Mooresville drag strip.
All right. Very good. Yeah, great spot for drag racing in particular. Mooresville and Shadyside. Piedmont's not too far. You've got Farmington. You've got Roxborough up the, a couple hours, right, but it's up there. Galat Motorsports Park. Drag racing is well represented in the state of North Carolina. For sure.
Wilkesboro's right up the street too.
Wilkesboro as well, yes. The not as famous track in Wilkesboro,
right,
but a great setting nonetheless. And I'm sure one of those tracks possibly that's how you came to love drag racing yourself. Is that the case?
In that area? I got in the trunk and snuck in Mooresville drag strip.
How old were you around those days?
Probably 13.
13. So going to Mooresville Dragway and some of the other drag strips in the area, what captured you about drag racing? You know, I've talked to like Kirk Williams in Funny Car Chaos. He saw a funny car, and it happened to be the Ham's Beer funny car, and he's like, "Oh, I want to be one of those dudes and drive funny cars." What is it for you that captured you about drag racing, that it was something you wanted to be a part of?
I guess just watching the wheel stands and being a kid doing wheel stands on your bicycle and motorcycles, and I love the high winding to hear the engines revving. That's mostly got what got me involved.
Well, look, we've got some people chiming in, like Bobby Frizzell Racing says Rick Varner is the man, and Tom White says congrats, champ, and Kim Haynes says hello to my good friend Rick Varner, congratulations, and Dragster Jeff mentions that DRC likes. I'm not sure on that one. I'm not sure. Oh, DRC. Talking about Todd Tutterow. Never mind. Okay, we'll move on. Stacy Welch. Hi, Lee. Congratulations, Rick. Steve. Congratulations, Rick. And also Renee Lanier. Congratulations, Rick. Oh, and then let's see what we got. Southeast Gasser Association. 55 Chevy Chick Magnet Racing says, Rick, are you just going to focus on Superstock or coming back to A-Gas? You know, that's a good question, because we're going to talk about your two hot rods, and let's go ahead and talk about the A-Gas one before we dive into Superstock. You were competing in A-Gas, but put some focus entirely to Superstock to go nab that championship, going to do the double next year in 2023?
We're going to start out. We had engine trouble toward the end of the year and just focused on Superstock mostly, but we have the engine back in February, and we're going to have it at the first race. We'll be racing both cars.
Be racing both cars. And in particular, let's talk about your A-Gas ride. Engine combination, year, how long have you had it? Its quirks. What's going on with the Dirtman A-Gasser?
The A-Gas was the old problem child car that I bought, and I didn't know anything about gassers. I traded my daughter's 31 chop top car for it, and then got involved with Quayne, and then everything on it was wrong, and you couldn't use nothing, so we just had to build a new car.
I've heard those stories before. A lot of those stories with Southeast Gasser Association. But hey, getting them right and where they are so seriously competitive is a beautiful thing to see, as you all are bringing back late 60s drag racing to the modern era. From that car to the Superstock car, what are the challenges? What are the differences? I get
to run the Superstock. I go out first in the Superstock. I get to manage the light, the shifting, and it just moves right over to the A-Gas. And the RPMs, you know, you just change your RPM launching and shift points a few different RPMs different. But I think it helps me driving two cars, just keeps me up on my game.
You know, that's a lot of people that aren't in the situation you're in behind the wheel. They look at two cars and they think, oh, how do you keep focused? Oh, that must be so challenging. But whether it's a NASCAR driver who does Xfinity racing on Saturday, or you talk to someone like Alex Laughlin that can be in a couple of different seats at a national event or beyond, that most of the time is the comment, just like you made, that it keeps you on your game. And I imagine you like it because you don't have to you have to keep going. You don't have to stop and do a lot of thinking, which usually turns into worrying.
Right. I don't have time. I've got all my crew and my help, and you know you can't race two cars without great help, like my daughter and G-Force and Roby. They all come and help out. And my engine builder, Mark Newton, he builds a great engine. I've had the last couple of things, but Tyler York and Tommy Luther, they stick with me all the time. Bully and Danny. I've got a crew that when I get out of one car, I don't have to do nothing but get back in the other one.
So, Mr. Pot Stirrer here, Leslie Horn, wants you to know that is great news. I'm ready to bet, and he means beat, up on you and the Frog some more in 2023.
He has done that in the past.
Yes.
I bet he knew I was there when I was racing him.
Well, look, it's definitely going to be good to see you back in A-Gas competition. But let's roll over, though. Your super stock car, man, what a beautiful machine out there in super stock, this Camaro. So the year, what's the story on this? I mean, it is a beautiful machine that you've got that you took to the 2022 Super Stock Championship.
Well, I realized when I had big cars. I had a 63 Chevrolet Biscayne. That's what I started with. The suspension's not the great on them cars with the springs and arms in the back. And you look at most of the super stock cars, it's done well. It's a Camaro. So I brought the first Camaro to the Southeast Gassers.
And a beautiful Camaro, a beautiful machine. It is. Okay, so what does it take to get all these machines to the track? Because I know we mentioned the A-Gas car. We mentioned, yes, the super stock car, but there's another car out there too. So right. So do y'all all get together and then roll down the track? Do y'all get to the track at the same times? Like what's the logistics of getting everybody there?
My daughter and Tyler York has Cracker Jack. I'm sure you've seen it in super stock. And they take it with a motorhome and a trailer, and I've got a stacker. I put the super stock and A-Gas in it, and when Tommy Luther drives the Grumpy or whoever drives it, Dale Morton's drove a few cars for me. Then they usually trailer the car if they're going to drive it.
So we got a good question from Drag Racing Central, and I'll throw it to you. You can answer it as best as you can. And Drag Racing Central, some of this is explained on SoutheastGassersAssociation.com, but he asked, what exactly is super stock and what is it based on historically speaking? So super stock as a class within Sega, why, how, what?
It's under the gassers, and I think it started out maybe just to be a fill in between and let the gassers cool off. And it started off with a few cars with Robert Peffley and Mark Hackett and a few others, Dale Morton, Bobby Frizzell. But it grew. I got interested. I went to Mooresville the first time, saw these guys running. I said, I can do that. And then after I realized how hard it was, it looked easy, but it's not easy at all. It takes a lot of suspension work. I tell you that. It's not always the engine. A lot of gear ratio stuff, suspension work to make the car work with a 7-inch tire.
So this year, you talk about that, the challenges of driving super stock. And oftentimes Quayne mentions, when I interview him, that super stock is probably the most challenging out of A, C, B gas. That super stock and what it takes to drive on that particular tire that Hoosier has developed, it very well may be the most challenging class out there. With that said, that makes competition tough. There are some very consistent, very fast cars in that class driven by very capable drivers. I think of Mercury Poisoning. You mentioned Bobby Frizzell, and you've got people who, I notice they don't run necessarily the whole season, but they show up. They certainly can win a race. But Ron Allison, I'm sure he seems almost like a thorn in the side of all the super stock competitors. And it looked like he was out, but he was clawing his way back up until round one there at Shadyside. So what is it like competing against your fellow competitors, and how tough is it?
Ron's good at what he does. He has a very good crew chief, Larry Pritchard, and Eunice that help him all the time. He's a friend of mine. He called me today, and we share lies together, not our secrets. We just share our lies together. So we keep up with each other, and it's all fun, and we get along. We're competitive very much. Me and him go at each other about every race.
You two certainly do, and it was good to watch the times that I was able to attend and keeping up with Sega, how great the competition was. Roby, he chimes in. Mr. G-Force Transmission himself says, if you have not been to the Dirtman shop, you are missing out. Wow. Sounds like I got a potential shop tour coming up then. He says, congratulations, Rick. So, yeah, let's talk. Roby chimes in, G-Force Transmissions. How important, how vital is G-Force to your program, whether A-Gas, Superstock, in Southeast Gassers Association?
It makes all the difference. Roby comes to my shop and builds other people's transmission. He actually sponsored me this year so I've got several cars, and he's been a great help. He comes to the trailer, but we just like him coming around. We're friends. Other than the G-Force transmissions, Roby and I are good friends off the track and away from the race cars.
Yeah, definitely a cool dude. And Roby, man, sorry didn't catch up with you there at PRI, but I know y'all did have a good PRI because one video went viral and it made the shop tour video do a whole lot better on my channel too. So I noticed that. But yes, G-Force transmissions and a huge part and piece for many Southeast Gassers Association competitors. So Rick, you win the championship. It does go down to the last race. Ron red lights round one. When that happened, when you got news of it, did that just give you a sense of ease, or did you feel like, wow, no, there's still a job to get done, which you did get done because you went on and got that proverbial cherry on top and won the race on top of the championship as well?
When I pulled in my pit after crossing the scales, there were people jumping down. They were jumping up and down. I thought my car was on fire, but my crew was letting me know that we won the championship. So I did get an ease. So I figured I could just go on out and without any pressure and just go do what I do.
And without any pressure, went on to win. And how many wins overall of the season? I know that I saw at least 2. How many wins in Superstock?
It was four this year. 2 at Shadyside, Alabama, and Orangeburg.
All right, man. Those are solid wins all over the country, and obviously winning the points championship. We go into off season. What's it look like for the little Camaro? Are you going to make any updates? Going to keep it the same? You've been talking about suspension. Already had some work on it?
Oh, yeah. We always go through – we go through the car. We check all the brakes, universal joints, all the Heim joint stuff, steering, linkages. The engine's in the engine shop, getting it checked back out after we got tore down after the finals. I think the top 3 did. So it's still down there, and he's looking for some improvements. And I'm thinking we'll probably slide into a big block sometime during the season if we can get the parts.
All right. Very cool. Still got some people chiming in, saying hello. Thank you all for watching. Hit that like button and share, as well as we have got Rick Varner, the Southeast Gassers Association Superstock champion for 2022. Well, what about A-Gas? Any updates to that car beyond the motor? I know you said you had to get that worked out, so any updates there?
Yep, it's just talked to the engine man today and yesterday. Cam change. We'll have some different RPM ranges for the top end. That's where I was lacking. I had a real good start, but I would Leslie and Kenneth Phillips and those guys, they would just catch me on the other end, and I just didn't have nothing for them. So we had to gain a little bit on the far end.
All right, man. I love hearing that competition may very well be tightening up for 2023. Some rule changes have been made in the Southeast Gassers Association package, and been able to ask each champion about their thoughts on it, from Leslie, Tim, and Colby. So what are your thoughts on the shifting and the no more cameras and things of that nature? What are your thoughts on that rule change?
I can do it either way. They had a camera in my car from day one. They never took it out. And I actually got called to the office twice. So I don't know how I won a championship and got called to the office twice and made it out. So I can do it either way. I think it'll benefit some guys that has run the stick cars with maybe the Lincos and Liberties. I think it'll help those guys probably more than the ones that's always used the clutch.
All right. What about the schedule? What in particular on it are you looking forward to the most? A couple of double headers, Knoxville, Shadyside, Gulfport's on there, going back to Orangeburg. What do you think about the 2023 schedule?
I like it. Wherever they make the schedule, we're going to race. That's a big sandbox, and we got to play in it. So if you want to stay on top, you're gonna have to chase the race.
That's right. It does fascinate me when, especially competitors, they want to fuss over a schedule because, like, you're gonna go race anyway. Just suck it up and do it.
Yeah.
Why are you complaining?
It is far, and I understand it when I'm self-employed, and it's not as hard on me to leave
Right.
a couple of days early and head out, because we actually make a camping trip out of it. We leave on Wednesday or Thursday, and we get to the track and just enjoy being there. I can see where it would be hard to travel a lot of miles and be there on Saturday and be back at work on Monday.
So, Rick, you look back on the 2022 season, which is a championship season for you, and what are a few moments, even just two, maybe just one, in fact, that you look back on and it was tough and it was something that made you think, oh, I'm not going to get this one, but you look back on it and you're glad that you got the heck through it and you won the championship? Any moment like that in 2022?
Yeah, I had when Ron was getting close to tying me, we really got our suspension adjusted up tight, and my car, I stood it all the way on the back bumper and drug the shackles against Randy Kiefer, and I lost that round, and that helped Ron Allison get closer to me. So we got busy on the suspension and tried to keep it on the ground after that.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, I didn't get to see that one. Man, a super stocker doing that. Wow.
7-inch tire. And that wasn't the only time. We did it at Shadyside at the finals. We did it practicing that night. It stood on the back bumper, slammed it down, sparks flying everywhere. So we had to calm it down again.
Man, you're gonna have to get some tips from Mr. Lowhorn on like how to drive up in the air. You keep doing that. I mean,
well, he gets wheelie bars. We don't have that advantage of having a wheelie bar.
That's right. Well, wow, that's impressive that car can do that. Yes, on that tire. I didn't realize. Wow, I bet that's a heck of a ride when it does that.
Oh, it is.
Sure.
When I had the camera in the car, I was still looking for the clutch.
It's there somewhere, but I'm up in the air. Right. Oh, man. So you mentioned a lot of family members that definitely help you. Take some time, say thanks, and what their roles are, and just clue us in. You mentioned that y'all make a camping trip out of it. How important, how big, how much fun is Southeast Gassers Association to the Varners out there?
We start out, and it's a madhouse the day before we leave, trying to load the cars, trying not to forget nothing. And I'm a nut trying to load everything I can think of, because I don't just take parts for my car. I take them for a lot of other people that if they break, I take welders and the different stuff. And I have a lift, and we help guys with transmissions. But I enjoyed it because my mother-in-law, Grandma Jeannie, everybody knows her as Grandma. She cooks for everybody that comes by. She rides with me. We listen to gospel music going down the interstate for miles. My daughter, Savannah, a.k.a. Boo, she's my backup girl, and she's always got my back, gives me my fist bump if you've ever watched her. And I even blow her kisses. When she's backing me up, I take my hand off the steering wheel. I ain't even turning the wheel and blowing her kisses, and she starts laughing at me. So and my wife, Tommy and Tyler, we go, and when TJ and Kelly was there, we just parked in a big circle, and Danny and Bully coming to eat with us, and Kenneth Phillips and his crew. So we just enjoy being around our friends and having a good time.
Man, the way it ought to be done. Have a good time, have friends, and then they'll go out there and beat them on the track. And yeah, I do got that moment you're talking about of fist bumping. If the photo will ever upload, I'll show it. Oh, here it is. Boom. There we go.
That's the famous fist bump.
There you go. Yes.
That lets me know that I'm ready.
There you go. You got to have that. And then you are ready to go. And it's so cool to hear that the family is that involved and you all are making the most of it, not just from a competitive guys, but from for family time as well. And that's so many people are doing that in Southeast Gassers Association drag racing, and it's certainly a good thing to see. So, Rick, look, winding down my time with you, thank you for coming on the show. What do you got to say to your competitors for 2023 in A-Gas and in Superstock? Are they going to have anything for Rick Varner?
I'm sure. The big dog Leslie Horn, you can't count him out. Gabriel Burrow, they're just fast. I think Ben Christopher be a big player this year. He's a good friend of mine. I just think if I can hang in that top 3 or 4, I'll be doing good. I'll let them know I'm there.
All right, you're going to let them know that you are there, and I'm sure that will be the case. Rick, man, look, thank you for the time coming on the show and finally knocking out the last champion in Southeast Gassers Association drag racing I needed to chat with. Anything else before I let you go, man?
No, just hit me up sometime and come take a look at my old shop. I got bicycles, stuff hanging on the ceilings and signs on the wall, old cars, old race cars. I got a junkyard around my house.
Hey, junkyards are treasure yards, in my opinion, for sure. Well, Rick, thank you for coming on the show.
Enjoyed it. Thank you.
All right, folks, that's Rick Varner, Southeast Gassers Association 2022 Super Stock Champion. Don't go nowhere. We're going to close the show in just a few moments. We're going to take a break, come back, take a few more questions that have been put into the comment section. So I'm going to take this break. As I take this break, you hang on, hit the like button, hit the share button, and put in your comments as well.
Power-Built Tools exemplifies innovation in the tool industry. From hand tools, power tools, and even tool storage. Check out powerbuilt.com for Power-Built Tools. And remember, use promo code MMR15 for 15% off at purchase.
All right, last part of the show here. Let me get back through some of the comments here. I want to take the time to bring them up and mention them. Dragster Jeff Kreider mentions I like Barnett or Stevie or Ricky concerning the World Series of Pro Mod. All great picks. Again, though, even though I really think Lyle is one to watch out for and is going to get that, don't be shocked if it's someone that you did not expect. There are heavy hitters coming from a lot of different Pro Mod series that don't get all the love, like a Chip King and people out of Northeast Outlaw Pro Mod Association and Midwest Drag Racing Series. So don't be shocked when it's not a name that you probably have heard. And I'm not talking about that in particular to you, Dragster Jeff, but just everybody. Don't be shocked. Don't be shocked when it's someone that you might not have heard about. 815 LX Swaps, guys, go give his channel a subscribe. It's free. Give him a sub. Was on the show last night with Michael Narks and Drag and Drive Addiction.com. They had Brian Loans and Mike Finnegan on, and we're chatting with them. It was a great episode. Go give him a sub. Max chimes in. Max from Terry Haddock Racing. Good to see you, Max. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for chiming in. He says, what would you like to see from NHRA this season that's different? I think that's a good question for any year, Max. I will say in a lot of ways, NHRA is doing what I do want to see them do. We're going to get Factory X. I love the idea and the premise of that. It goes back all the way to one of the first videos on this channel, the Monday Morning Racer YouTube channel. I have a video entitled, Will NHRA Pro Stock Die? Or is NHRA Pro Stock dead? Something like that. And I go over this premise of what I think Pro Stock should be. Don't get me wrong, I love Pro Stock, but it has lost its heart or essence, even though it's extremely competitive. And in that video, I talk about, well, in essence, what Factory X is going to be. So I'm getting what I proposed in essence. So I'm looking forward to seeing Factory X. We got the Legends of Nitro Funny Cars. They're going to be at more national events this year. Those nostalgia Nitro Burners. So that is great to see. That's something we've wanted to see, and they're going to be at the track. I would say what I would like to see from NHRA Camping World Series drag racing. And then I'm also going to give you what I would like to see with Lucas Oil drag racing, the top alcohol and funny cars for top alcohol funny car, and the sportsman races. I'm going to give you two things. With the Camping World Series, I would like to see standalone door slammer events where it is factory stock, pro stock, top sportsman, Factory X, Pro Mod, and they are the only things on the property. And fuel is not there. They have marketing put behind it. They have funds put behind it, and they go to different tracks that maybe typically don't have a national event, and they have door slammer centric national events, if you will, without fuel, and give those people some airtime and more exposure and interaction ability because the fuel classes aren't there. And we know when the fuel classes are there, they are the stars of the show, and they're going to get most of the eyeballs because it just is flat out impressive. 300 plus miles per hour and 1,000 feet. That's the sights, the sounds, the smells, the vibrations, and just the craziness of nitromethane racing at the highest level, 11,000 horsepower. Just absolutely insane. Granted, I still love door slammer racing, and I'd like to see door slammer centric events. For the Lucas Oil Drag Racing Series, what I would like to see, if you see the streams on YouTube or you're watching on drag or NHRA.tv, I want them to have better coverage in this sense. They need pit reporters. They need people on the scene gathering content for the stream so you hear from and learn more about the people at these regional and divisional events on the grounds. And the only way that's going to happen is someone's got to go get it and then put it on the stream. And it can be done because that's what I did for Funny Car Chaos. It can be done. Someone's just got to pay out. And the NHRA, I think, does need to do that. And that will build also opportunity and a media pipeline. Everybody wants to talk about pipelines of racers. What about a media pipeline? What about a YouTube team? And they deal with YouTube stuff, and then they can be pulled from and go to the tower if they need to and handle those things and be on Fox if they need to. But yet you got people in the wing ready to go, and you're training them up. Why not? That's something I would like to see, those two elements for NHRA in 2023. Pat says, to me, Pro Stock is like the Formula One of drag racing. That's an interesting comment. I don't disagree with you. I will say, before the rent-a-ride era, with the engine development that was needed to have a competitive Pro Stock car, I definitely think your statement rings true. It was becoming astronomical in price to develop a good engine program, and the needs in the configuration of a 500 cubic inch situation to create horsepower. I mean, these guys don't even, it's like if they could get away with not running oil, they wouldn't run oil because it takes away from, a little bit of horsepower and you lose a little bit. I mean, that's the extremes they would go to if they could get away with it. So I get what you're saying. Look, love Pro Stock, but I believe in a lot of ways it has lost its essence. It's kind of lost its heart and what it was meant to be. Because I will say, to what you're saying, Pat, remember, a Formula One machine, in essence, like a Top Fuel dragster, is pure race car. Pro Stock was never intended to be pure race car. It's Pro Stock. Yes, it's a race car, but not in the sense that you've so highly modified it for pure speed and acceleration. And that's what I mean by I think they've kind of lost its essence over time. All right. Thank you all for chiming in. Drag Racing Central, let's give you the last here. What are you saying? NHRA doesn't really have a pipeline for the pros. I mean, they kind of do, but it doesn't work as they want it to, be honest. Drag racing, there's not really a pipeline in the NHRA because fuel dragsters, alcohol funny car, what now will be a fuel funny car, they are not a direct transition to Top Fuel and Nitro funny car. I would say the fuel cars are more so than all those others that I mentioned, but we see people who they compete in those classes and they don't bother moving up. So it's not always a stepping stone. And here's one reason why. Because when you win a national event in Superstock, you are a national event winner. And you're a winner on par, yes, with John Force, if he won that national event. It's not tiered in that way. It's, yes, you're in your class, but you, like when you won Indy, even though you were in, B shift automatic on Wednesday, you still won Indy. And you're a national event winner. Drag racing, it's so diverse. And it's got a place seemingly for anyone to come and race in. That's even one of the challenges for it growing, is that great diversity. Sega, Leslie Horn, 55 Chevy Chick Magnet Racing. Thank you, Lee. Another awesome show. Thank you all for watching. Please hit that like button, subscribe to the Monday Morning Racer YouTube channel, and share this out. We will be right back here Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, to talk drag racing news, drag racing, and talk to somebody in the world of drag racing. We will see, and we will have whoever we have. God bless, and keep the pedal to the metal.
Hero Soap Company is a veteran-owned establishment that produces all-natural, essential oils-infused soap that is sold with a portion of the proceeds supporting other veteran groups. Hero Soap Company. Heroes supporting heroes. Be a hero yourself and buy a bar and let freedom clean.